Hey all, my name's Jim Colbran. I'm a Deputy Captain at Hazelbrook Bushfire Brigade, or Rural Fire Brigade, whichever you'd like to call it. I'm 54. I'm ex-Blacktown. I'm a Doonside boy. I joined Doonside Bushfire Brigade, which was part of Blacktown, in 1979. I followed in Dad's footsteps basically, but I remember him flying out the front door on Christmas Day in his overalls, a white pair of overalls, to go to a fire in the Blue Mountains. He unwrapped a present under the Christmas tree, and it was a terry toweling hat. So with that, he picked up his bag, which had a towel and a couple other bits and pieces in it that I can remember, and that was it. He went, and I made the decision from there. The first fire I went to, I was still in high school. The principal had sent a runner around to my classroom to come and get me, which really wasn't all that strange for me at the time. And he told me that the fire truck was on its way up to get me, and that Mum had packed a bag and thrown it on the truck. So the fire truck pulled up in front of the school with the lights flashing, the siren blaring, and as I walked out the gate I turned around and gave him the big old heave-ho. We went to Bulleye, which was very interesting. We were in a 1963 or 62 or 63 model R series Bedford, 6-cylinder petrol engine, 850 gallons of water. I think there were 10 blokes on the truck. I think there was 6 or 7 trucks from Blacktown. And I remember going through the old toll booth, and we just went through there under lights and sirens and waved at everybody as we went through. And where we were is Appin Road and the Princess Highway. They were doing the freeway connection that bypasses Mount Ousley. And we were up on top of a grassy hill. It was hotter than Hades, and the fire came up over the top, and we were on unburnt ground, so we sort of lit up little fires around the truck and let it burn away from us as best as we can, hosed everything down, and then got underneath the truck, and bang bang, we're here to tell the story. There was absolutely no protection on those trucks whatsoever. We had rubber hose live reels, probably big, huge live reels. They would have been 50 to 60 metres in length, and they had a brass Vari-Jet nozzle or branch, and none of this Storts fitting quick fit stuff. It just, yeah, it was all the old screw-on type. Like I said, there would have been about 10 blokes on the truck. They sit on top of the pump, the OH&S, there was absolutely nothing. Very interesting, to say the least. Living in Doonside, we had a lot of bush. There was no, the closest New South Wales Fire Brigade was Blacktown 63. When all the bushfire training started in around 1982 or 3, a lot of the older members from Doonside decided that they didn't need to do the training, so they would leave. So I was a deputy captain by the time I was 19, which I held the deputy for a couple of years, and then I was senior deputy from about 1983 to probably 89, 90, but also growing up with Mum and Dad, we had a striker parked in the paddock. The keys were in the power box on the side of the house. Everybody knew where it was. Dad just used to rip through the middle of paddocks and have the hose hanging out the door, and all I was there for was to basically start the pump and keep my eye on the water. I put my name down for the 2000 Olympics, the Olympic Volunteers in Policing, which happens to be this patch right here, which was awesome. Had a ball, met lots of people, yeah, it was just fantastic just to see the Olympics, you know. We were working side by side with security, checking bags, talking to people. Doonside Bushfire Brigade was then closed in 2000. Then I went and joined Rudy Hill just as a normal member, just for a little while, just to keep me membership up. In 2001, sold my house down at Glendenning and moved up here, joined Hazelbrook. Now, we got responded down to Glenorrhy. Everybody knew where Glenorrhy was, but nobody was 100% sure on how to get there. Growing up in Blacktown, and the hills area, etc., I knew how to get there, so I was thrown in as driver. So we gets down to where we're going, and a couple of blokes started throwing around nicknames and stuff that I wasn't real happy with, and then somebody come up with the nickname of Swampy. So hence, Swampy has stuck. Everybody knows me here as Swampy. They wouldn't know my real name. When I put my name down on the sign-in book and for meetings, etc., everybody goes, "Who the hell's Jim Colbran?" We do a lot of street training. We do a lot of, we go around checking hydrants, and then we do a little bit of street training at the time. We just pick a street in the area. Most of them up here back onto bush. So it's good that the community sees us out and about, checking all the hydrants, running hoses, rolling hoses, spraying water around, etc. It gives the community a lot of sense that that we're around. I'm a motor mechanic by trade. These days, you know, people will plug a computer into a car. That ain't a mechanic, that's a technician. Basically, give me something with a carburettor, as long as it's got spark, I can get the bastard going. I then went into driving trucks, actually no, driving buses. I drove buses at Penrith for 9 years. Got out of driving a bus, got into driving a paper truck. That's my phone again. Got into driving a paper truck. That's Black Betty, by the way. Spiderbait. Loved paper truck, loved driving a paper truck. I could be my own boss, I could do what I want, as long as I behaved myself. One of the members here owned a workshop, mechanical workshop. So it was a walk from my place to work. So I worked with him for a few years. Drove concrete trucks for a few years, concrete agitators. I now am self-employed. I mow lawns and look after gardens, which is brilliant because I can do what I want, when I want, and if the pager goes off and I'm not in the middle of something, I can basically disappear. My interests, as you can see, we're sitting beside a 1943 C15A Chevrolet Blitz. This Blitz is an original Blue Mountains truck. It's not the original Hazelbrook Bushfire Brigade, but it is, I believe it may be Medlow Baths. But it's had a ground up restoration, which is not bad for the old girl. We use it for displays. I am part of New South Wales RFS Heritage. I'm a committee member. They're based out at Mudgee. We have a collection of up to about 35 old bushfire trucks, ranging from Blitz, Studebaker, the youngest truck that we have, I believe would be a 93 model Ford Louisville, which came from Winge Caribbean. Plans are in with local Mudgee Council to have a museum type thing, which will be a education and heritage centre built so we can house a number of trucks and have them on display and take people through the viewing area so they can have a look at where we came from to what we are today. always on the lookout for donations, etc., etc. The RFS are responsible for keeping the upkeep. We do the servicing, as in Heritage make sure that the vehicles are checked rego. 90% of the vehicles that we have are all completely registered with RFS. They still have brigade names on them, so they can still be registered as firefighting appliances. RFSA look after us in a big way. It's just, like I said, anybody can see where we have come from, as in from the bushfire brigade, even the cow-cocky brigades, as we used to be called, to what we are today, the RFS. The biggest challenge would be dealing with hurt, dealing with loss, whether it be building loss or loss of life, or number of road accidents that I attended with Blacktown. It's just, yeah, devastation. Just dealing with the devastation that you see, you know, that we see as firefighters, that we see as first responders, so to speak. 94 was pretty well crappy. It was terrible. The devastation, the loss. We started off up the coast, ended up down at Como Janelli, and anywhere in between. We were at Booker Road, at Hawkesbury Heights. Just the amount of area devastation, you know, loss of property, loss of life. We tried to do our best, but you know, sometimes it just didn't come off, and that's the hardest thing to deal with. Yeah, look, 94 was, you know, radio communications were absolutely crap. There was a lot of shouting, a lot of banging on trucks, a lot of you know, mobile phones were only just starting to come in. You know, coverage was not real good. That opened a lot of eyes as far as change with communications, etc., etc. You know, today I think we do quite well with what we have. It's still not perfect by any means, but yeah, 94 was a big time for change, and yes, it did come in. Is we show them around the fire station, we gauge their interest and see if they really are interested. We give them some paperwork. There's a 4-week cooling off anyway. We've got a number of videos, scary videos. We sit them down, they can have a look at them, and we gauge how they go from that. Anybody who wants to have a go, just have a go. And if it's not for you, then it's not for you, and it's as simple as that. Companionship, brotherhood, and that goes for sisters as well. Dancing with the dragon.